Mr. Heavyweight Boxing today.
Hey, what's up, man? This is Chris, the Nightmare Ariel, and you're watching Mr. Boxing Today.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, man, so this heavyweight fight right here is taking place April 21st, Kabayel versus Rovcanin. I like this fight. Rovcanin is 19-1. I believe he has 13 stoppages, and Kabayel is 17-0 with 12 stoppages. Now, Rovcanin, he had to fight with Dimitrenko, his most noteworthy fight by far on his resume. It's kind of like he just, if you look at the rest of his opponents, it looks like he just jumped off the deep end fighting Dimitrenko, looking at the other guys that he's fought. But in that fight, man, I thought it was like an evenly fought fight. I know he had the 3 points taken away from him. Originally, it was the fight was a draw. And then wherever they were fighting it, I forget exactly where they had their fight at. But I watched it on YouTube here, man, and per the regulations of where they were fighting the rules, him being deducted 3 points should have been a disqualification. So they ended the fight in a draw, but then they went back to it and say, hey, he should have been disqualified, therefore giving the win to Dimitrenko. All right, the 3 points I seen taken away, 2 were in the third round. 1 was a left hook that he landed after the break that actually dropped Dimitrenko. He looked kind of hurt by it. He looked hurt when he went down. And then the other was, it was a holding. The ref thought he was holding or clinching too long. And to me, a point should not have been taken for that. It looked like Dimitrenko, looked like they were both at fault for holding each other. And I didn't think a point should have been taken, man. The ref he looked kind of biased in that fight towards Rovcanin, in my opinion. Then in the 7th round, Dimitrenko landed a good hook, like literally right before the bell ended. It was a good left hook on the inside, and then Rovcanin kind of, as Dimitrenko turned around, he kind of thumped him. It wasn't even really a full punch. It wasn't really a push. It was kind of just like a little, just a little quick thump, like he just jabbed him. I don't think a point should have been taken away, but then the ref, he was taking points away immediately. But as far as the fight, though, I thought it was an evenly fought fight. Rovcanin was moving around. I thought he took some good shots from Dimitrenko. Also thought he landed some good shots. He was applying a lot of pressure on Dimitrenko. He was moving around, catching Dimitrenko with counters. Dimitrenko did have his, in that fight, did have some moments where he was using the jab, landing the right hand, keeping Rovcanin at distance. But I thought it was an evenly fought fight, man. Rovcanin is a young guy. I believe he turned pro at like 18 years old. He's about 24 years old now. So he was a decent amateur on the Serbian level. Decent amateur out there. Now, a guy like Agit Kabayel, I believe Kabayel had like 5 or 6 amateur fights. That's it. He turned pro at 18. He's still learning the game. 25, I believe he's 25 years old. Now, his best fight obviously was the Derek Chisora fight. A lot of fans thought that he possibly could have lost that fight. Again, it was just an evenly fought fight. I saw a lot of good things from him in that fight. He was able to circle, use combinations. When he didn't want to fight, a la get some rest, he would just circle the ring on Chisora. He even pressured Chisora at times in the fight. Thought it was evenly fought, so those are those guys' 2 best opponents that they fought. I would favor Kabayel's resume a little bit more, well, a lot more than Rovcanin, although it's not, world beaters, but Rovcanin is a guy that Kabayel fought early in his career. Actually went the distance with him. Christian Lewandowski, who was at the time was looked at as probably a higher rated prospect than Kabayel, or just right on the same level as him. When Kabayel beat him, Herfubo, a guy who he fought, that was another, I believe he went 12 rounds in that fight, 12 rounds with Chisora, and I believe 10 with Rovcanin. So, and tough fights for him. So he's able to go the distance. I think Rovcanin is a more rangier fighter, although they're both around 6'3". Rovcanin seems like he's the guy that would throw, straighter punches a little bit more, be a little bit more at range, a little bit more upright. Although he can bend down and change levels, but he seems more of the taller fighter by the way he fights, where Kabayel seems a little bit more stockier as far as their physique. Wants to throw hooks and uppercuts and move and use his shoulder as he's moving, kind of crouches, kind of bends down a little bit. So on the inside, who's going to win the war on the inside? Rovcanin seems like, that he would be more willing to just hold on the inside, where Kabayel, I think, can probably let some punches go, take advantage of his stocky frame on Rovcanin, kind of put some pressure on him, force him backwards. Rovcanin can land off the back foot a little bit, but to me, he's more dangerous coming forward, whereas Kabayel, it's kind of 50-50. He's really not a downhill fighter. I see him fight off the back foot a lot, likes to use the pivot, throw combinations, pivot, roll under shots, slip shots. He's that type of guy. Rovcanin have shown that he can do it against the level opposition. I've seen him fight. To me, I think he'll kind of fight aggressively, but more like dart in with hard, straight combinations and then get back out. Dart in with strong combinations and get back out. I think he'll fight that type of fight where I think Kabayel will just come forward. If he can make a miss as he's coming forward, he'll do that. Or I think he'll try to make Rovcanin miss off the back foot as Kabayel's on his back foot. But to me, it's style-wise and just from what I've seen, it's almost like an even type of fight, man, to tell you the truth. I'm going to favor Kabayel in this fight. I think he's just a better fighter he's a more versatile fighter. And I think his chin, is probably better. Although, Rovcanin haven't got knocked out or anything like that, but just against the level of guys I've seen him fight, and they landed some good shots on Kabayel, he's able to take them and go the distance at that. Rovcanin went the distance with Dimitrenko. He went 10 rounds, so not taking that away from him. But I'm gonna edge Kabayel in this one, but it's evenly. It's an even fight in my opinion. Let's look at let me see here. Try to pull up these rankings really quick. Well, I can't pull up the rankings, but Kabayel is rated number 10 by the WBC, and he's rated number 10 by the IBF, the last I've checked. So right now is not a good time for him to lose in his career. He's also the EBU champion. I believe Dimitrenko is the EBU mandatory. This is a voluntary defense for him, and I believe Dimitrenko is the mandatory for the EBU title, last I checked. Yeah, I believe he got that mandatory position after he beat Rovcanin. So it's kind of like Kabayel's fighting both guys after the fight was over was called a draw. So he's fighting pretty much both guys if he can get past Rovcanin and then fight Dimitrenko a little bit later. So I like these type of fights for Kabayel. And then, if he can get past Rovcanin and he fights Dimitrenko later on, then he can go on and fight like the Carlos Takams. I know Takam was at the Kabayel versus Chisora fight. Tyson Fury, I believe, was at that fight as well, the Chisora Kabayel fight. I know Kabayel's been in, he's trained with Tyson Fury. All those, you can see that on his Instagram account. He's been in the Fury gym training. He's trained there before with those guys. So, man, for a guy that only had literally 5 or 6 amateur fights, man, and just to learn the ropes as a pro, I think that's pretty good for him. I think that's pretty good for Kabayel. So, should be a good fight, man. I'm going to favor Kabayel probably 60-40 in this fight. Just based on what I've seen for Rovcanin, he's not shy from trading leather. You know what I mean? He will trade leather, but I think Kabayel will make him miss, will counter him, and I think he'll be able to control the fighting like that. I think he'll win this fight by decision. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm gone.